Hey, what's going on, Flash Mob? I hope you guys have been taking care of yourself. It's actually been a pretty exciting time for Flash Forward, and I felt like making this video to help answer some of the questions I've been getting about my red Komodo. Really quickly, we're obviously not sponsored by Red or anybody else if we're being honest, but we are open to talking to you, Red, if you're listening, so hit me up. If it's your first time here, my channel is all about helping you turn your passion into a paycheck whilst taking you along my filmmaking journey. So if that's the kind of thing that you're into, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Run the intro. Now for this Komodo. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, you'll know that I shoot with the red Scarlet-W, and I've absolutely fallen in love with the red ecosystem. Shooting in red RAW and with R3D files has made my life so much easier, and honestly it's made everything I shoot look a lot better. The time came where I was like, damn, I'm gonna need a second camera. Basically to do all the things that I want to do with my career, so more the narrative and directive and technical things that I want to do. So a second body became somewhat of a priority to me. A couple cameras that I took a look at was a Sony a7S III, the Zcam E2 F6, the Sony FX3, and obviously the red Komodo. After doing what I felt was good enough research on these four cameras, I decided I was going to go with the Sony a7 III, mainly because I've already used it before and I was very comfortable with it, and I knew that it was great in low light. It also didn't help that the Komodo was back ordered and the other ones just weren't really cutting it in terms of what I wanted from my camera. But then, while I was randomly scrolling through the internet a few weeks later, I came across a post in a Facebook group that I'm a part of. It was basically saying a shop pretty close to me had a few Komodos in stock. I pretty much stopped everything that I was doing and called them immediately. I hit up my boy Andy and I was like, hey Andy, I saw your post in the Facebook group and I was wondering if you still have any Komodos in stock. He was like, yeah man, yeah. We got a couple of them, we got a couple. And I was pretty much like, okay, bye. And I hung up the phone on him. And I immediately went back to YouTube and just started looking at a couple of videos on the Komodo just to refresh my memory a bit and make sure I remembered what I even wanted from it in the first place. And I said, damn, I have to have this. My decision came down to this. I already have a red, so by getting the Komodo, it would be super easy for me to go ahead and match these in post. I love the form factor of the Komodo, and comparing it to my red Scarlet-W, you can clearly see that it's much smaller and compact, and it would make it so much easier for me to travel with. Aside from not having the same slow motion capabilities as the DSMC2 cameras, pretty much everything else is either better or the same. And for me, it didn't feel like I was downgrading by going with one of these other cameras. Like, it was more or less kind of like jumping to the side in terms of this camera versus what I already had. My favorite thing about red cameras is their modularity. I can go from a simple run and gun setup like this to a full-blown production camera that I can fit on my Steadicam or tripod without feeling like I ever have to sacrifice anything. And like, the Komodo is just so tiny. It's amazing what Red was able to accomplish in such a tiny camera body. So there are a few standout features that really caught my attention. The first is this image quality. The image quality on Reds are just incredible. It's hard to mess up a shot with all of the incredible exposure tools built into the brain, and how soft the roll-off is in the highlights. The next thing is this global shutter. It's hard to really explain it, but one of those things that annoyed me a bit was that jello effect you would get in straight lines when moving the camera around quickly. With a global shutter, it's never going to happen again. And this really becomes important when you want to start stabilizing your content. The next thing is definitely going to be the workflow. Being able to work within the color science of R3D files was always appealing to me, and being able to take them into DaVinci Resolve and going through the same exact process as I've always been doing was a key factor to me. It's straightforward and simple. The other thing I really love was the built-in screen. Every other Red camera requires you to buy a separate screen to operate and view what the camera sees. Granted, It's not a great screen to use, and I wouldn't use it for any professional work, but having the option to keep the overall size and weight down, especially on a trip or something like that, is great. I ended up going with the production pack, and I've been able to play around and use it for the last couple of weeks, and I can honestly say that I love this camera. I love it so much that I'm actually considering selling my Scarlet-W and getting a second Komodo. For the time being, I'm really just still trying to perfect my build. I think I got it pretty down, but I think I just need a few more batteries and maybe a couple of other little things that's just gonna complete it, but for the most part, I think it's ready to rock and roll. Now, I don't want you to watch this video and feel in any which way that you need to go out and buy a RED camera. Like, that's just not what I'm trying to do. Even though the Komodo is relatively cheaper than any of the other DSMC2 cameras, it's still pretty expensive, coming in at $6,000 for just the brain. Then maybe another $5,000 to $6,000 to get monitors, handles and grips to hold it, top handles, media, batteries, you know, all those other little things that make a camera, like, it's gonna cost you quite a bit. You can absolutely buy something a lot cheaper and create amazing content. But I like to look at it like this. If you can afford it, that RED RAW workflow is just amazing. Like, that R3D Kodak is just butter in any program that you use. And with my career, I've absolutely noticed that since I decided to go with a RED camera, like, people look at me and they talk to me with a lot more respect. And that whole back and forth negotiation crap, it's dead. This guy's showing up with a RED camera. This is industry standard. He knows what he's doing. I like his work. I need it done, so let's do it. That's the kind of conversations that I have nowadays. Like I said, if you can afford it and you have the type of clients that can support this kind of decision, then 100% go ahead and pick up a Komodo. If you're looking for your first camera or you're just kind of stepping into this film world, then yeah, this one's probably not for you, but it's a good thing to try and work up to. But that's pretty much going to be the end of this video. I'm going to be making a few more videos about the Komodo, so if you're interested in learning more about it, make sure you go ahead and turn on that notification so you don't miss any of the future videos. And if this video helped answer any of your questions in any way, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button so I know that this is something valuable for you guys. Until the next video, guys, remember to look, learn, and share. Take it easy, guys. Peace.